welcome to Have I Got News For You? I'm Jennifer Saunders. In the news this week. In Minnesota, at a local confidence-building class, one member of the group's self-esteem goes back to rock bottom.
1, 2, 3. No, wait, no!
As the police publish the name of the main suspect in the Croydon cat killer case, the culprit goes to great lengths to keep it from his family. And at a warehouse in Wolverhampton, work on stockpiling medicine in case of a no-deal Brexit suffers a slight setback. On Ian's team tonight is a ceramic artist who, with a no-deal Brexit looming, we need more than ever, as someone is going to have to make us a pot to piss in. Please welcome Grayson Perry. And with Paul tonight is a comedian who does an incredibly accurate impression of Donald Trump. If that's the case, can you just make sure you keep your hands where I can see them? Please welcome Matt Forde. Before we move on to the unavoidable subject of Brexit, there was sad news this week about the death of Baroness Trumpington, the oldest person ever to appear on this show. Here's one of her best moments just before opening titles began to roll.
I would like to know why, at the age of 90, I've had to sign a piece of paper in order to be on this show to say I wasn't pregnant.
We tried to have Baroness Trumpington on this show again, and it was the day Mrs. Thatcher had died. She was a friend of Mrs. Thatcher, and she said, oh, yeah, that'd be fine. And then the first round was Mrs. Thatcher dying. So just before the show, she just said, oh, I'm not doing this. And she went home. It's fantastic. She just didn't give a shit.
Who was she replaced by?
The BBC had insisted that there was a Tory on because Mrs. Thatcher had died, and then no one was available for the show. So the only person who said they'd come and do it at 7 o'clock was Ken Livingstone.
And we start with the biggest stories of the week. Ian and Grayson, take a look at this.
Oh, that's the deal?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, all done.
Who's that?
Is that a Jeremy Corbyn tattoo?
And that's the Governor of the Bank of England? Or maybe that is.
Surprise, surprise. Brexit isn't going to be so beneficial to the UK as we thought it might be.
Are you reading that from somewhere?
Well, I blame you for Brexit, this programme.
Me?
I blame this... You're the ones that bigged up Boris. You know, you probably launched him.
You really should watch the programme.
Yes, this is the exciting new addition to the Christmas schedules, a televised Brexit debate with two of the country's most popular stars.
Mrs. May has said, I mean, she didn't want a television debate last time. This time she wants one, and she wants to debate it with Corbyn. But given they both want to leave, it's not going to be much of a debate, really. How dare you? That's a very good idea. Yes, let's leave. Yes, let's. But also, I think there's a problem with the schedule, because Jeremy wants to be on ITV, is that right?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Theresa May wants it on the BBC, but Jeremy Corbyn doesn't. But he said he's fine with the state broadcaster as long as it's Russian.
I think ITV is probably more of a Leave channel, isn't it? And the BBC is more of a Remain channel.
Why do you think that?
Because the BBC, of course, is the voice of the liberal elite, which is why I dressed up as a more Tory person this evening. For some balance.
Yeah, I thought you were channeling Mrs. T.
Well, it's more that Jeremy Corbyn really doesn't want to clash with I'm a Celebrity. And
Jeremy, is he on it?
But Jeremy Corbyn told Philip Schofield on Thursday I want to watch I'm a Celebrity myself.
I don't think he's ever watched ITV, really. He's not the sort of person that'd watch ITV.
Well, I don't think he's even got a television.
No,
I think he'd have to go out and buy a television to watch it. What might the debate show be up against if it's on ITV?
Dynasties, David Attenborough, is it? There'll just be cats watching that, then.
Well, apparently it could be up against Strictly Come Dancing, Country File, or even Doctor Who. Actually, Doctor Who will probably be delivering its lecture on colonialism and the collapse of the British Empire, so it's probably worth missing that. And why does Vince Cable want to be in it?
The Lib Dems are for remaining in Europe.
Yes, because
So
all the
he might argue the other point of view.
And let's not forget that Vince Cable had to apologise in the summer after he and Tim Farron missed a key Brexit vote in the Commons because he was apparently at a dinner. So there we are. Vince is in there fighting for Remain as long as he's not famished.
But the dinner he was at was called How to Stop Brexit. It's like cancelling on a date. So I'm very sorry, love. I'm reading a book on how to get laid.
Now, Boris has been cropping up all over the place this week. What's he been doing in Belfast?
It's at the DUP conference.
He's been egging on the DUP to reject the deal and suggesting a bridge. But what's the problem with a bridge between Northern Ireland and Scotland, apart from the obvious?
Nobody wants it.
It's quite a long way.
It's quite a long way, and between Northern Ireland and Scotland, there's the Beaufort Dyke. It's a very deep trench under the sea that's full of thousands of tons of World War II munitions, and probably not very safe to dig up. I think that's... Although I'm sure Boris could be persuaded to go down and have a quick look. What other glimpses of Boris Johnson have there been this week?
Oh, from Inside the Foreign Office, the BBC Two series, which revealed when he was in Portugal, he didn't understand the difference. There was a video of him saying, Portugal, we are Portugal's fourth biggest trading partner. And they said, no, Portugal is our fourth biggest trading partner. I'm surprised he just goes, it's great to be here in Portugal, Nando's.
Yes, that's absolutely right. And here he is, preparing a presentation for the Foreign Office Twitter feed.
OK, yeah. Hi, folks. Boris Johnson, Foreign Secretary. I'm here in Lisbon, in Portugal, to celebrate what is the oldest alliance and friendship in diplomatic history, going back to 1386, going forward through the Napoleonic Wars, through to the Second World War, when, of course, this was a place that was... I'm trying to think what happened in the Second World War. What did we do in the Second World War? It was neutral, wasn't it? The Azores. What did we do in the Azores? Hi, folks. Boris Johnson. I'm here in Lisbon. James Bond himself was said to have been born in Estoril. And today...
James Bond. See, he wasn't born.
Well, you can't put one thing in my brain.
No. The idea for James Bond was born. The idea for James Bond was born.
Unbelievable. But what did a 9-year-old girl give to Theresa May this week to cheer her up?
Couple of Nurofen.
A pocket money. Hope.
Parliamentary majority.
How have you missed this?
Cheese and biscuits.
It was a specially baked cake bearing Theresa May's face to offer encouragement for the tough times ahead. Let's have a look at the cheery cake. And actually, as we know, Theresa May's a diabetic, so she can have a cake, but she can't eat it. And who have the media been trying to keep out of the Brexit coverage recently?
The SNP?
No. You've not seen this man.
What, Corbyn? No.
Oh my God, yes! Sorry. Oh, man. He's the Mr. Stop Brexit guy.
Yes.
And I think the BBC and Sky clubbed together and spent about £10,000 to erect a studio on College Green because this guy's always in the back with his placard saying, Stop Brexit. So they're clubbed together, we spend all this money, and all he did was spend £3 lengthening his pole.
Let's have a quick look at his work here. There it is. Theresa May's been touring the country with her Road to Nowhere show. What's she been saying?
On Brexit, people don't want to compromise. You either want to stay in or you want a hard Brexit. And in reality, they're the two camps. But she's trying to cook up a sort of half deal where she's saying, right, you want to go to the cinema and you want to go bowling. The zoo it is.
And the Bank of England was asked to report on what the effect of a no deal would be. What did they say?
We're moving to Canada.
Essentially, the government asked the Bank of England what it thought would happen, and they said it'll be disastrous.
Yes.
And then everyone had a fit.
But let's be honest, I mean, the people making the predictions are all economists, so you might as well ask the cat, but...
I mean, Mark Carney is in charge of the Bank of England. He was asked to make a prediction and he gave it. I mean, Rees-Mogg is the one who had a fit.
Yeah.
That's right. I mean, it's pretty rich of Jacob Rees-Mogg to attack Mark Carney on the numbers when he mistook 22 for 48.
He said that Mark Carney was a second-tier politician. And you thought, oh, God, that's you in the basement, then. Yeah. Rees-Mogg's just a backbencher. He's achieved nothing to date except failed to mount a coup against the weakest Prime Minister in human history.
Don't underestimate the power of a funny outfit.
That's true.
But Mark Carney works at the Bank of England, and, you know, whatever talent he has, whether you think it's second or first tier, he's devoted it to running the Bank of England. Jacob's talent is devoted to making himself and a few friends fantastically rich through a capital asset management fund. So why is he giving lectures to anyone on what would enrich the country? What he knows about is what enriches himself.
Well, actually, that's a good point. Talking down the pound will help him bet against it in the shorts market in the event of a hard Brexit.
I
Yeah.
have no idea what you're talking about.
That's what I do, to be honest.
Now, given that everyone is crapping themselves about these forecasts, what did the BBC's business editor, Simon Jack, say about them?
Do you know, that's the one person I probably didn't listen to.
Did you miss this? He said, I can't stress this enough. These are not predictions or forecasts. They are just possibilities. Well, anyone can do that. I mean, we could do it. Paul, do you want to tell me about some possibilities?
Yes. Unless you buy your tickets early, you might miss me in pantomime.
I can't wait. It's Paul wearing a dress. I mean, how does that work?
Well, it depends, you know, when you start. He's a late developer.
I'm a late developer. So I've got a lot to learn, but I'm keen.
So the country might be going to hell in a handcart, but who's been having a lovely time this week?
Me, because I've been in rehearsals for my...
Yes, of course. Have you missed this? That Dominic Raab and David Davis were jointly awarded Spectator magazine's Cabinet Resignation of the Year Award. There's a picture of them here, unbelievably collecting the award from Liz Truss. But David Davis has been influencing the art world recently.
Has he?
Oh, yes.
No, I haven't heard that one.
Well, a sculptor who was trying to create the head of a Roman emperor, just using his imagination, ended up sculpting the head of David Davis because he claims he was subconsciously influenced by all the TV coverage. If you have a look at this,
Yeah.
That's David Davis.
I was going to say, it really looks like it.
And here's the sculpture.
It's Lionel Richie, isn't it?
Yes, this is Brexit and the live TV debate between Theresa May and Jeremy Corbyn. There are doubts as to how many people will watch the debate if it's on at the same time as I'm a Celebrity. In fact, the only person who's guaranteed to watch it will be Ant. There's some dispute as to when would be the best time to put on a reasoned debate with all the facts about what Brexit means for Britain. Just a thought, how about June 2016, just before the referendum? According to the newspaper, the Liberal Democrat leader, Sir Vince Cable, demanded to be involved in the TV debate on December the 9th. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, old boy. There's a cold snap on the way. So, Paul and Matt,
Yes.
take a look at this.
Absolutely. So, yes, he was meant to turn up somewhere and he didn't turn up somewhere, and they wanted to know why he hadn't turned up, and then he didn't tell them because he hadn't turned up, and so he still hadn't turned up, and so they decided to interview somebody else who had turned up. Is my in-depth appraisal of this story.
Yes, I'd say that's about right. This is the news that Facebook is being investigated for failing to stop the spread of fake news and Russian propaganda. What has the British government done to spice things up?
It demanded information from Facebook because Zuckerberg is very protective of his own privacy, amusingly, given he's stolen everybody else's in the entire world. And so he doesn't want to turn up. He doesn't want to talk about how much tax he pays or the fact that he won't take any action on unsuitable websites or terrorists or anything else, really. All he wants to do is just make money. And so the Common Select Committee said, no, you've got to give us the data about this. We think you're guilty in this particular case. So they went and threatened him.
They've seized a cache of Facebook's internal emails from 2014, which are said to include staff acknowledging the fact that there were problems with Russian hacking on which the company didn't act.
But the man who they sent instead of Zuckerberg couldn't answer any of the questions about Facebook and knew absolutely nothing about any of it.
Well, he's a Lib Dem peer.
Is he really?
And his name's Lord Allen of Allen. That's his full title. And it was an international committee convened of various international parliaments. And a Belgian MP who sat on the committee was so incensed that Lord Allen had been sent instead that he said, oh, Mark Zuckerberg sent his cat. I mean, to be fair, Lord Allen did shit on the floor and try and bury it.
What diplomatic success did the British government enjoy in the UAE this week?
Oh, it's the new Foreign Secretary. He got someone out of jail.
Yes.
He's totally misunderstood the job. When Boris was doing it, what you do is you double the jail sentence. It's hopeless. Anyway, this is very good news. Matthew Hedges is out.
Matt Hedges, yes. The British researcher who'd been sentenced to life in prison in the UAE for spying. What was odd about the videotape that the UAE government claimed was his confession to being a spy?
Well, in the middle of it, he said he worked for MI6 as a captain.
Yes.
They don't have captains in MI6.
Or do they? How do we know?
I've given myself away.
Who was admitted to wrongdoing in their dealings with Russia?
Michael Cohen.
Yes.
Formerly President Trump's lawyer. He's great, the man he trusted, and now he doesn't know much about him. And as the American population, the latest opinion poll a couple of days ago showed that now 60% of him disapprove of the way he's running the country.
And this was the problem with having someone who was a novice, was that he sold it as a strength, but actually it means that he's made crucial errors that a politician wouldn't have made. He granted 2 private audiences to Vladimir Putin, a former member of the KGB and FSB, although what the Federation of Small Businesses were doing getting involved anyway. But for the American president to sit one-on-one with the Russian president with no security detail is really unprecedented and remarkable. It shows naivety. I mean, apart from what information Vladimir will have definitely got out of him, it wouldn't surprise me if he hasn't secreted a bugging device on him and Trump hasn't noticed yet. Just imagine him sat there going, I hear beeping at night.
Oh, good.
Nobody knows what it is, by the way, nobody knows. I think it's my ideas coming in.
This is the news that Facebook is being investigated for failing to stop the spread of fake news and Russian propaganda. Reporting on Facebook's reluctance to remove provocative posts, the Daily Express said, the Daily Express has compiled a dossier of hate-filled material. Yes, it's called the Daily Express. And so to round 2, the Scrambler of News. Buzz when you know what it is.
There's been a World Chess Championship and they were equally matched, and I think in the end they were sort of like, there was a speed trial or something and they had to move very quickly and one won with 15 seconds to go, something like that.
Exactly right.
Exactly
This is
right.
the news that Armageddon, as it's called, has been avoided at the World Chess Championship. Do you want to see some of the most thrilling moments from the championship? Let's have a look. Control yourselves. Ooh, steady. How was the actual Armageddon avoided?
It's 12 draws in a row, isn't it? And chess fans were getting annoyed. They said it was making the sport boring. And I just think it's really... all these draws are really ruining the game of chess. The game's changed. You know, I used to love nothing more than on a Saturday having a few beers, meeting up with the lads.
Strip chess.
Going down the...
Strip chess. I can see your bishop. I know you can, mate.
Armageddon, as it's called. It's a one-off game where each player only has 5 minutes to make all their moves. And according to the BBC, should that not produce a winner, then whoever's black wins. So, unlike life, then. Continuing on the chess theme.
Yes.
Slightly losing the will to live.
Yes.
Why has there been some controversy over the final this year?
Because it's duller than Brexit.
Yes! Apparently it's proven a deeply unsatisfying spectacle.
Shock, chess is dull.
Dull,
To watch.
spectacle.
I'm sure it's great to play.
Commentary would liven it up at the very least, wouldn't it?
Would it?
You watch the... Well, even snooker commentary would help, you know. Oh, where's the bishop going?
They need to modernise it like cricket, don't they?
Yeah.
2020 chess, you've got
Yeah.
20 seconds, that's the whole game.
Put little motors in the pieces. You've got to try and catch them, change the nature
wake
of the game.
up. And then get betting. Get Ray Winston. Bet 365, straight in.
Get in play. That would be good.
Ukrainians, get them.
In other actual sporting news, how did this man get himself into the Guinness World Record books this week?
Oh, was he the flipper?
Oh, yes, let's have a look.
It was 19 feet, I believe.
Yes, it's extraordinary. It's the world record for the longest backflip between two horizontal bars. Apparently, Boris has suggested it as a way of travelling between Northern Ireland and Scotland. Could be possible. And lastly, what was Diego Maradona's response to being asked about his new job in Mexican football?
Did he get quite angry? Did he throw a bucket of water at somebody?
Well, let's have a look. Let's have a look.
¿Qué piensas de la Liga MX, de su nivel?
No,
The drugs have worn off then.
Yes, this is the World Chess Final. During their matches, the chess grandmasters are completely sealed in a soundproof box. I'm guessing that's because they don't like drafts.
Is it time for the advert for Panto?
Oh, no, it isn't.
Whoa! Fingers on buzzers, teams, please.
Oh, yes, this is the search for another planet to live on. NASA have sent a probe to Mars, that's Mars there, and there is water on Mars, and if there's water on Mars and there's water on this planet, as we know, then it means that, mathematically speaking, that there's water throughout the universe.
And they found a plastic bag in the water.
Yes, this is the news that NASA's spacecraft InSight successfully landed on Mars this week. How did the NASA team celebrate the landing?
Oh, very excited. It's sort of like, you know, they were all sort of like high fives and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, let's have a look at that. Let's have a look at their special...
Landed on
handshake.
Mars a day helps you work, rest and play, essentially.
Extraordinary. Let's just hope they had a handshake for if it went badly. What was the first thing the spacecraft did after landing?
Oh, well, it landed on a part of Mars called Elysium Planitia.
Oh, I say.
Which is named after Jacob Rees-Mogg's fifth child. And the first thing it did when it landed was take a selfie.
Yes, according to the Telegraph, as the dust settled, the spacecraft took its first image of the red planet. Let's have a look at the image. They've actually spent £1 billion to find out that Mars actually just looks like a mini egg. What was particularly special about the spacecraft's landing spot?
I think this is the first landing on Mars of a probe that will actually delve under the surface and find out what's inside.
What, are we fracking on Mars?
Yes, there you go.
That's a bit premature, isn't it?
Well, it's not illegal, is it, I suppose, because no one owns it.
No.
But, I mean, what's inside of Mars? Caramel?
In other news, who's considering moving to Mars?
Oh, Elon Musk. Basically, all science is motivated by the capitalist spirit. And so he's probably just thinking how he can monetize Mars.
Yeah, because this week in an interview with HBO, Musk gave himself a 70% chance of moving to Mars. Fingers crossed. Musk said...
I feel like inventing a handshake.
I mean, what does Musk think was more likely to happen on Mars than Earth?
Dying.
Yes.
Getting stuck. Oh, there he is.
Oh, that's gone. Oh, he fell to Earth that quickly. Oh, Elon.
That was good.
That was quite major. Oh.
What
Okay.
happened?
I don't know, something happened in the back of the set. I'm sorry, I don't know what it was.
Don't worry.
Nobody's hurt.
Nobody's hurt. Excellent. Excellent.
How do you know it's sorted if you don't know what happened?
Yeah, hang on.
Could it happen again? Buggers?
That's worse than the Brexit secretary.
Okay, should we go to Elon Musk?
Yes.
He said, your probability of dying on Mars is much higher than it is on Earth.
God, he's brilliant.
No shit. I mean, really, the genius of the man. But speaking of space prats, Tim Peake. No, I'm not having Tim Peake has released a guide this week sharing advice on how to pass the European Space Agency's astronaut exam in 2020. Anyone keen to apply?
Yes.
Yes? All right, we're going to have a go at one of the questions.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I want to be.
OK, and you can do this at home as well. You are facing a cube, imagine, in your head, that has a spot on the bottom. In your mind, roll the cube.
Yeah.
Forward,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
forward, left, backwards, left. Where is the spot now?
Same place.
Facing you.
You're going to space!
Yeah.
Yay!
That's right! Exactly, it's on the bottom.
I understand your applause was slightly confused there because you thought, how can somebody as stupid as him have got that right? I guessed.
Lastly, which prominent British person has appeared on a list of scientists nominated to be on the £50 note?
Maggie.
Yes, Maggie Thatcher. Do you know why?
Soft scoop ice cream.
You're going to space! Yes, it's true.
She was briefly a scientist.
Chemist,
was.
wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She read chemistry and then she worked developing soft ice cream.
Absolutely
I
right.
think,
Opposed to
I
hard
think
ice
of her every time I have a Mr. Whippy.
Do you?
Too much information.
We thought that was just a rumour. Yes, this is the news that a new probe has landed on Mars with a mission to drill a hole in the surface and measure any subsequent tremors. The Mars probe travelled 300 million miles at 12,000 miles per hour before landing precisely in a tiny pre-arranged drop zone, thanks to the combined efforts of rocket scientists, space engineers and seismologists. Meanwhile, the Michael Gove space probe, built by non-experts, crashed into a haystack. Also this week, the Bank of England published the first batch of names to be considered for the face of the new £50 note. The nominations include the famous female scientist Ada Lovelace. Now, I know she sounds like a porn star, but she actually helped develop the computer, thus launching the career of many actual porn stars. Fingers on buzzers, teams. Here's another one for you.
Oh. The giant cow in Australia. He's 6 foot something tall.
He's 6'4", weighs nearly 1.5 tons. See if you can spot him here, blending in with the rest of the herd.
It's bonkers!
Bonkers. Well, what do you call a giant cow? What's the farmer named this giant cow?
Anything you like, won't understand you.
Oh, he's called it Knickers.
The farmer said he called him Knickers because he had bought another cow called Bra.
Is there not much to do on the farm?
The farmer said, we never thought he would turn into Big Knickers. Well, I can sympathise with that. No one expects to end up in Big Knickers. What's going to happen to Big Knickers?
You get put on the radiator.
Kept inside, definitely. You wouldn't want that hanging on the line, would you?
Someone's nicked him off the washing line.
The Daily Mail has actually revealed that Knickers is too big for the local abattoir, despite containing enough meat to make 3,000 burgers.
Is that hunger or...?
He just hangs around. He's part of the furniture. Yes, and he will be soon when that leather sofa needs reupholstering. And that leads us nicely on to this. How do you ever tell how big something is?
By comparing it to other things that you know the size of.
Measure it.
Exactly, by comparing it to things you might know the size of. And Skip Hire owner, Non Harris, has found a novel way to help her customers pick the right size skip for them. Here she is, standing in a small skip. Here she is in a medium-sized skip. And here is Non Harris standing in a large skip.
We don't know how big she is.
Exactly.
She might be tiny.
There could be 3 sizes of Non. There could be 3 Nons. We don't know.
The big cow would be a better indication, really, wouldn't it?
This is the news about a giant cow in Australia called Knickers. Yes, it's the biggest cow of the week, although not according to Kate Middleton.
Oh, you made the noise as if like you were on a quiz show and a caravan has just been revealed as the top prize.
It's time now for the odd one out round. It's just one between you this week. Nice Baps Cafe, a dog called Fire, Les Dennis, and the village of Wool. Yes.
Well, the village of
Paul
Wool I
Matt.
know about because the animal rights charity PETA, are they called? They said that the village of Wool was a rather unfortunate name because they think that sheep are disadvantaged by having wool shaved off them, sheared off them, I suppose. A dog called Fire would be problematical if you were shouting fire, fire, wanting your dog to come back. You can see how that could be different. Nice Baps, well, I think we don't need to go further than that.
Go on.
Les Dennis. Now, I would imagine they've all been asked to change their names apart from Les Dennis. I don't know what Les Dennis's real name is if it's not Les Dennis, but Les Dennis sounds like a sort of first name and a second name put together. So I'd say he was the odd one out.
Yeah.
No.
No. Magdalen College Hislop.
Les Dennis is...
Oh, as if you know anything about Les Dennis. Absolute farce.
Popular entertainer, my lord.
Yeah.
The only thing I know about him
Yeah.
is that he was originally called Heseltine. This is a real cafe. Has that changed its name?
To Firm Buns.
No.
The dog's had his name changed to Accident and Emergency.
None of them have changed their names except him.
No.
It is true.
Well, it is Les Dennis, is the odd one out. I mean, because they've all been accused of having inappropriate names, except for Les Dennis, whose name has been used inappropriately. It's actually an anonymous graffiti artist in Norwich who has been spraying the presenter's name around the city. Here's an example. Let's have a look. There we go. And do you know what Les Dennis has had to say about this?
Oh, I don't really know.
Did he say that he actually did the graffiti?
No. He did respond to the initial tweet saying, "It wasn't me." Before telling The Independent, "It really wasn't me." And then went on to LBC Radio and said, "I promise it wasn't me. You've got my word for it. That's all I can give." Well, he did go on to say, "I know the song by Shaggy was called It Wasn't Me, when it was him." I'm not being cryptic here. It really wasn't me. It was him. I think it was. The village of Wool has been asked to change its name to Vegan Wool in order to promote kindness to sheep. Residents of Wool have pointed out to the vegan campaigners that the village's name doesn't even refer to wool, but instead derives from the local well. What they haven't told them is that this is the same well they traditionally use to dispose of sackfuls of kittens. But then vegans never do their campaigning by halves. They always go hell for imitation leather. What's the problem with a dog being called Fire?
Well, if the dog's out and about and you can't see him, you're going, "Fire! Fire!" I mean, that immediately would be problematical, wouldn't it?
Or if you're running a firing squad.
Yes. In fact, this week, the military's chief veterinary officer, Colonel Neil Smith, revealed that Fire is an army dog worked out in front of infantry protection patrols. So you can imagine the problems when calling out fire.
I was trying to be silly, but, I mean, compared to the army...
And what's the issue with Nice Baps Cafe in Cornwall, apart from the obvious?
It upset locals.
No, apparently it was reported this week that local councillors wanted to close it down because of its saucy name, which they claim has no place in society. Do you know who's been to Nice Baps? David Cameron. Apparently he visits the cafe while on holiday in Cornwall. Here he is. Ooh, Nice Baps.
Ooh. How interesting, he leaves no footprints in the sand.
Yes, they've all been accused of having inappropriate names except for Les Dennis, whose name has been used inappropriately. A spate of graffiti reading simply Les Dennis has appeared across Norwich. Local police say that the man responsible is Les Dennis. Les Dennis says... This week it was revealed that Fire, the military dog, has caused confusion with his name. Army dogs are useful in bomb detection, but less helpful in other military situations, such as when you're throwing a grenade.
No animal was hurt during that mine.
Which means at the end of this round, it's 3 points to Ian and Grayson and 5 points to Paul and Matt.
Can I just say at this point, we're behind you.
Oh, yes! Please.
Oh.
Time now for the Missing Words round, which this week features as its guest publication, Cactus World. And we start with 60% of people in the UK, what?
Believe that the other 50% are innumerate.
It is, in fact, 60% of people in the UK believe in conspiracy theories. Used to be 95%, but then Mars bars suddenly got smaller, cafes started giving us free Wi-Fi, and a whale appeared in the Thames. You think that's a coincidence? I don't think so. Next, what can be like a comedy, often featuring dramatic conflicts?
Have I got news for you?
The competitive world of cactus breeders.
The Cactus annual meeting. They all get together. Not a lot to drink.
Oh, very good.
I'll be here all week.
Yeah. Under house arrest.
It's correctly identifying cacti. Next, 82-year-old Yorkshireman awarded title of what?
Bitterest man alive.
Mr. Prickly.
I wish it was that. 82-year-old Yorkshireman awarded title of Britain's best takeaway driver. This is Brian Loffens from Sowerby Bridge, who's been given the award for delivering curries in a tie and suit and hasn't missed a day's work in 4 years. Here he is. Brian's customers say they enjoy the novelty of getting their curry delivered by a grandad, as usually it comes with a nun. Next, dense tufts of white velvety hair, sharp features, and an erect positioning. It can only be
Boris.
What?
Must be a type of cactus.
It is. It is, in fact, the Nivium cactus.
Ah, is that where we get the cream?
Oh. Oh, possibly.
That's not a joke, I'm being sponsored. I'm an influencer.
Ooh, very soft.
It could also be Philip Schofield on This Morning.
Keep the pricks on the outside.
And finally, dog caught what at local pub?
Drinking. Rabies.
Ooh.
Gambling habit.
Well, you're quite close.
What? Which one?
Drinking.
Drinking. Caught getting drunk at local pub.
Well, in fact, so close.
He was barking backwards. Fool. Fool. It's wolf backwards in case you're trying to work it out.
It was, in fact, dog caught drinking its owner's pint at local pub. A dog in Belfast was caught on camera this week taking a cheeky swig of his owner's pint. Here he is checking the coast is clear. And then immediately getting stuck into the pint. Along with this drink, he tried some bar snacks. Well, I say that, he just licked a couple of nuts. So the final scores are Ian and Grayson 6, Paul and Matt 7. And I leave you with news that in Somerset, Jacob Rees-Mogg begins to worry that he might not make it to Parliament for the crucial Brexit vote in 2 weeks' time. Despite decades of tabloid intrusion, Prince Harry and Meghan are all smiles for the visit of Rupert Murdoch. And at a country fair in Norfolk, a senior vet tries to reassure his junior partner by telling him help is on the way. Good night.